Hey everyone, John here, back with another video. Going to go right into it, talking about the New York Rangers, Red Wings, a lot of trade rumors going out right now. Also going to talk about the Ottawa Senators, just a few different teams. If you're an NHL fan, if you're a hockey fan of these certain teams also, this is a video for you. So we're going to go through it. Elliot Friedman, this was shocking for me. I understand the Rangers have gone through some tough losses lately, and then even another loss after this loss. So in the aftermath of the 6-2 loss in Edmonton, and the Blues loss as well, Rangers have made it very clear they're interested in making moves and shaking up their roster. So Chris Drury's not fooling around. Among the names indicated are Chris Kreider and Jacob Trouba, although other options will be considered. So Kreider's 34? Kreider's been the heart and soul for the Rangers for a while. Big playoff goals, big playoff performer. So trading him, not ideal, but when you're talking about mid-30s, that contract, I get it. Trouba, I think he's traded if not for the personal situation with, it's his wife that can only work in New York. But I have maybe workarounds here to have a conversation about. There's other states that are right there where it's maybe if you live right on the border, you can figure it out. I don't know. I think whether it's Jersey, I don't think Trouba's a fit there, or Washington, I don't think Trouba's a fit there. But maybe you go upstate New York and go towards, maybe you go towards Canada. You maybe do it Ottawa, Montreal. Ottawa, you could be upstate New York and be within an hour, 2 hours, I think, maybe even less of Ottawa. It's not that far. And so, I don't know. The Ottawa one's interesting for me because Ottawa could use a guy on the right side again, even after the acquisition of Jensen. But yeah, Emily Kaplan adds to this. Strong reporting from Elliot, followed up with calls to people around the Rangers. Even though they have a decent winning percentage in a playoff situation, they are in a conversation that there could be some moves. They don't feel it's been good enough. So I've brought up some hot takes, but also there's scenarios out there where Ottawa could be making some big moves. Josh Norris's name is heavy out there right now. So I think when you're talking about Josh Norris's name, keep an eye on that. Chris Kreider, Trouba, maybe it ends up being a massive blockbuster between the Ottawa Senators and New York Rangers. You never know. And then I also think the Rangers are going to make a couple moves. If they want to feel like they need to shake it up, maybe Riley Smith is traded, maybe back to Vegas. If the Rangers were willing to retain, Riley Smith loved it in Vegas. Maybe towards the end, not so much in terms of being traded, but he won a cup on the way out. So, but yeah, the Rangers going after Zegras or Vetrano has been talked about. Maybe that's a scenario. Trouba for Sherratt swap. Again, Trouba, Michigan guy. Ben Sherratt, 2 years left at a much more reasonable cap hit. I think Trouba's the better player, but ultimately you're saving a lot of cap. This was something I saw interesting. Again, if you're talking about Montreal, Trouba, maybe the physicality. Montreal wants to play that way, and then the Rangers get more cap compliant at the same time, get some depth for Armia, and then David Savard, better defensive option for them. This is not happening. I saw this on Puckpedia. This is not happening. This may be more realistic. But a lot of stuff. Shout out to Saravelli. I think this is a conversation right now. Shout out to the Daily Faceoff guys. But Minnesota, maybe a team going after David Jiricek. I know I've talked about the Buffalo Sabres. Again, going back to the Ottawa Senators, Josh Norris. There's just so many names out there right now. And then, of course, I've seen Briere around. Briere, I'm sure he's having those conversations with the Flyers. Kyle Dubas, Pittsburgh Penguins. Then there's also the rumors that the Pittsburgh Penguins are targeting David Jiricek. So who knows? Is this a conversation that the Penguins are going to go for more younger players? They just traded for Rutger McGroarty, but now Rob Rossi, you never know. Is Rutger McGroarty a long-time Pen? But this was the Nashville thing I wanted to bring up. So Nashville did acquire Pittsburgh acquired Philip Tomasino from Nashville. Sorry, I'm exhausted, but shout out to Emma, this article I was reading, just from her perspective on the Nashville side. But yeah, Tomasino is only 23. So yeah, he hasn't put up numbers, but I actually loved how Tomasino looked. I don't think it was last year. I think it was the year before, towards the end of the year when he was getting more ice time. But I think Tomasino could still make it work. And you know what? Maybe the Penguins send him to the AHL at some point. Do they really want to do that? Because they still gave a 4th-round pick up for him. But you know what? I think Tomasino could become something. I think it was just the fact that Nashville hasn't really utilized their draft picks in recent years, or at least traded their draft picks. You saw the list there from Askarov to Tomasino, Tolvanen, Fabro. They lost Tolvanen on waivers. The Fabro one was kind of a mess from the beginning. it's just tough. It looks tough for Nashville right now, especially with the struggles in going veteran mode. We thought the Nashville Predators at one point, like last year, I thought they were going to like rebuild. I thought they were going to trade Saros. I was confident in that. And then all of a sudden they went like the complete 180. I know Trotz wants a winner, but maybe it was a little premature. We'll see. I think Nashville could still figure it out. And then the Leafs conversation, got to fit it in. Maybe teams that need a change of scenery, maybe a Nick Robertson or Pontus Holberg are involved. Like specifically Robertson, I would not be surprised if like a team like the Red Wings called. You know what? The guy could use an opportunity. There's guys in the Red Wings top 6. There's guys even in the Rangers top 6 that's not producing. Again, I'm not so sure the Rangers is a fit there, but also Colorado needs a goalie. So when we're talking about the Detroit Red Wings maybe making trades, keep an eye on Colorado. I would not be surprised if Colorado called the Red Wings on a veteran like Cam Talbot. I would not be surprised at all. And then shout out to Emma again. I wanted to give her article a shout. So there's a lot out there right now, guys. These are just crazy Puckpedia, Puck GM trades that I saw. The one that I actually thought was realistic was this one. Pittsburgh getting a first-round pick. Erik Karlsson to Dallas. I've talked about that before. I talked about that on the podcast too. That could be interesting. And then this one as well. If Minnesota is trying to make trades. But again, Minnesota could be a team for David Jiricek, so we'll see. And then a couple of these are actually interesting. Like the Florida-Detroit one is interesting in the perspective that Detroit could use a long-time goalie. Maybe Florida gets Cam Talbot back in this trade, 50% retained on Tarasenko. So in this scenario, Florida would get Tarasenko 50% retained. This is my trade scenario. Ignore this structure. Tarasenko 50% retained. Cam Talbot in there as well. Draft pick, maybe. But I think Spencer Knight's value is still there. So Detroit would have to give up a little bit more, depending on how you look at it. But I think Tarasenko, Cam Talbot to Florida, Spencer Knight to Detroit. I think that actually makes some sense. So you never know. But the Sherratt-Ristolainen one, I actually think that swap makes some sense. Veleno, I feel like, would be a guy that Pittsburgh targets and what Dubas is looking for right now. And then Detroit going after Keandre Miller. I mean, I think Detroit's going to be talking to the Rangers in general, whether it's Keandre Miller, Trouba, right? We've talked about that. So, again, going back to this from Friedman and Kaplan, I mean, keep an eye on it, guys. I think the Rangers are going to be a team to talk about. The Red Wings are going to be a team to talk about. Things like that. So, thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button, like, notification bell. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.